everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. I hope that everybody is having a good start to the day. I hope you had a positive start to your week. It has been quite a challenging couple of months for myself and us here at the Black Voice, the Odyssey Project. But we're moving forward and we are intent on closing out this year on a very positive, powerful note and building momentum. Before I get started on this, I want to take a couple of moments to remind you that we're still amidst of a ongoing fundraiser to support the work that we're doing in the community, whether it be the work we do with the youth through Black Men Lead, a rite of passage initiative for young Black males age 4 to 30, or the work that we do with young Black girls through restoring Ghettos Forgotten Daughters, through the work that we're doing now with rescuing and rehabilitating young children and young adults who have been trafficked. That's a conglomerate effort that we are spearheading. And there are a lot of moving parts with that. The development of new educational supplemental programs as well as primary programs to combat the fact that our children are being miseducated into complacency, compliance, and submissiveness within a system that does not serve them. And we have to be aware of this. I wrote about this in my book, The Miseducation of Black Youth in America. I followed up on it in Born in Captivity. I have spoken on it immensely, and it is immensely important that we be aware of the machinations of the enemy that are set up in almost every facet of life to inhibit us, to oppress us, to control us, to keep us in a place in which we cannot develop power. It's our responsibility. It is incumbent upon us that we take action. We can't keep sitting and being passive in our own lives, in our own situations. It's our responsibility to stand up and make a move, to plan, to develop, to take the helm of our personal sovereignty on a collective level. That's so important. And we're doing a lot of work. You can easily go click the link and go to the site and see some of the things we're doing. Also access some of the resources that are there for you to access, see how we're working and how long we've been working. It's been a 30-year journey for me. And the last 15 have been quite intense. And each year is more intense because there's more at stake. To me, I tell people all the time, the first half of my life was about me. It was about me proving I could do anything I set my mind to, have anything I want, do anything I want. And I found myself empty. I found myself just a shadow. But I found that when I was doing something I believed in, like serving my people, researching about what we were doing and writing it, but not just writing about it, coming up with solutions, is where I felt alive. And I decided that the second half of my life was going to be about a legacy, not just talking about what's going on in the Black community, but being an instrument of change, being a catalyst in it, being a voice for those who are voiceless. And I've worked my behind off. They took the channel. We did great work. And I say we because it was a collective effort. You guys that are a part of the old channel had my back. We grew that from a channel that started out with about 20 videos and probably 20 views and 2 subscribers and 1 troll who made it their business to tell me how sorry my channel was, to a channel that had over almost 16,000 subscribers, over 3 million views, and over 1,600 videos. And they took it down. Well, that let me know that I was on the right track. So we'll continue to press on. But you have to know that all the work that we do actually does come at a price. I mean, just time alone, it costs. But then there's so much other work that goes in. So we need your support. There's always going to be a paragraph at the top of the description box on these videos where you can click the link, go to the site and give, or you can give directly through our Cash App, which is a Cash App account, which the handle is obviously the $ and then the Odyssey Project 21. With that being said, let's move into what I want to talk about. I've been talking about this thing, this whole impeachment thing. I've given you the breakdown of how the impeachment process worked. I've given you my assessment that Donald Trump is not likely to be removed from office. I mean, it's highly unlikely. Anything is possible, but it's highly unlikely. And there's growing pressure for some pretty powerful organizations to have him removed. But I doubt if it happens, because there are some headstrong Republicans who have simply said no matter what the evidence says, they're not removing him, because of what that would actually mean to the Republican Party. They can't take that hit of having a sitting president that's from their party be removed. So we're going to see how that goes. But what I want to talk to you this now is about things. Remember when I started to talk to you, and I've said this on many occasions, not just dealing with Trump, but almost every situation in which we become frenetic and unglued, we become unboxed, and we lead with our emotions. I've told you one of the reasons why we struggle so heavily and so massively is that we don't understand how things work. We don't take time. And then we have those like myself. And, you know, and if you notice, I never attack the people who are out there, even if I don't agree with them wholeheartedly. If I believe they're out there and they're for my people, I back them, I speak of them, I share their work. I've worked with Tariq Nasheed. I've worked directly with Dr. Boyce Watkins. We've done an interview together. I spoke at the last All Black National Convention. I've worked with Dr. Umar Johnson on a more personal, direct level, getting people to him who actually have children who are a part of the special education enigma in public schools. And I know for a fact that he came through, no matter what people think about him on all the other levels. Oh, and I heard, by the way, that the school is actually open. I don't know how true that is. And my thing is, I'm not championing or anyone beyond what I've known they've done, but everybody has a contribution. There's so many others out there. Jason Black with the Black Authority, Professor Black Truth, so many others that are out there doing their thing, and that's so important. And we've got to talk about this. We have to talk about the fact that we are not aware of how things work. We don't get behind the people who are giving us how things work. We let the system come and attack them. And if you notice, the people who are really bringing the work are being now identified as people who are part of a misinformation campaign to mislead Blacks. They've thrown Tariq's name out there. They've thrown Jason Black's name out there. They've thrown a couple of others. And, you know, the Joy Reeves, the Roland Martins, all of those guys, the Sean Kings, who literally benefit from the Democratic Party gaining ground. Those who have been propped up by George Soros and others from the Democratic Party to be the guiding force and the misleaders of the Black community, what we call the misleadership class. What they're finding is that new Black media is a force that, you know, whether you're talking about Jason Black and the Black Authority, whether you're talking about Professor Black True, whether you're talking about Tariq Nasheed and the work that he has done with the film, within the film industry, whether you're talking about the psychology of it, even from some of our ancestors who have gone on, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. John Howard Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, some of the work that is still being done by our aging elders like Dr. Claude Anderson. That work, you can't miss. Just it's so much out there. Man, let's not forget Dr. Khalid Muhammad and the voice that he gave. But what we have to understand is that's always been considered radical. That's always been considered. And think about how mainstream has painted those who will stand up and speak unapologetically, how they painted it and made us radical, made us angry, made us dangerous, and made the masses want to put us in our place or turn on us. We've lost a lot because, you know, we allowed mainstream media to paint the portrait of our reality. And when those of us who are coming along and try to tell you how things actually work, we got to start paying attention and seeing the value in that. It is new Black media. It is unapologetic Black media that is going to be the voice, the educator, the empowerer by way of knowledge of our people. They have never given us the truth. They have never given us holistically what is going on. They've always used the propaganda machine to create an unreality that is seen as reality, and we've bitten on it hook, line, and sinker. The new media technology, social media, the internet has created the ability for us to literally set up our own platforms and go out and speak truth to power. And we need people who understand the benefit of that to stand behind us, to be an insulation, to understand the importance of that. That cannot go without speaking on that. But when we don't know how things work, it's easy for people to mislead us. It's easy for us to get frustrated. When you know how things work, you start to work the thing for your benefit. When you don't know how things work, you're at the mercy of the thing. And that's where we have to gain ground. We have to gain ground in understanding that we can no longer be at the mercy of the thing. We have to understand how things work. In this instance, the smoke and mirrors thing, which is used so commonly in the world of politics and in the world of media, they used the hatred and dislike of Donald Trump, as well as the fear of Blacks and other poor groups to draw them in and focus them on the fact that they're impeaching Trump, which is an empty act when you're not going to follow through and actually take him out. And I posed a question on yesterday that I challenged people that were so excited about Trump's impeachment to write a one-page essay on how, even if he was actually, first of all, on how the simple House impeachment was going to improve their living situations, their lives, or anything within them significantly. And even if he were somehow removed, how that would change their lives, what would change outside of their feelings, what would change. And I'm waiting on those one-page essays. I haven't gotten one. The thing is, we get involved and we get focused and we lose our mind and we center on how we feel. We've got to stop operating on how we feel and start operating on what we understand. We need to start developing agendas. We need to start building processes. We need to start setting up protocols of how we respond to different things that happen within the community, whether it's internal or external. We have a responsibility to have think tanks that evaluate all the enigmas and problems and situations, as well as predict those that might take place in the future so that we can be prepared to deal with them. That's our responsibility to do that. And so that's where we're not doing that. So now check this out. While we're focused and cheering on the fact that before we found out a couple of days ago that he was actually impeached, we building up to it. It says, okay, it looks like, and everybody's cheering, come on, come on. Then when they announce it, everybody gets excited. Everybody's blowing up Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, talking about the impeachment and not really understanding what was lost, what was gained, if anything. It was an empty move. The bottom line is it had no teeth. It is this, if we were to try to give an analogy, we would make it analogous to someone being indicted, but never getting convicted of something. You got indicted. That's, you were indicted for it, which means a grand jury said that was enough evidence to take it to trial. But you can never find a jury that would convict. So you basically walked. Now, the beautiful thing about it, depending on where you're sitting on it, to me, I'm not a fan of the office of the presidency. I think it doesn't serve what I am in love with what matters to me, it doesn't serve it at all. And until someone gets in and actually uses it as a bully pulpit for the things that I find important, I have very little interest in who's in it, because it's never been used to serve me, no matter who is in it. And I've done enough research and reading to understand that. So that's not where my energy is placed, but I need to teach my people the same thing. So they use the hatred of Donald Trump and the fear of what he's quote unquote doing. Although all this stuff has been done for years and decades, over I don't know how many presidents, and he's just more openly abrupt and vulgar with his mannerisms and uncaring. But the same things are being done. Absolutely the same things are being done. It's just now, because of social media and because of his personality, being brought to the forefront. Some people are a lot more smoother in doing it, and it is what it is. But here's the thing. While this was going on, everybody was focused on the impeachment, Congress, the same Congress that's impeaching him, is pushing through a bill that he's been pushing, a $738 billion defense bill that's going to deal with everything from the U.S. It's going to pay for the U.S.-Mexico border wall, the Space Force. That's a new thing, the Space Force, not just the Air Force anymore. We got the Space Force. It's also going to work to continue to support the Saudi-led war in Yemen. This is exactly the thing he's been looking for. So we're going to play this "we're impeaching you" game to make it seem like Democrats are being tough on president, but we're going to turn around and give you everything you asked for. That's the game that's being played. And for the people who are unaware, you're sitting back and you think you have a victory. The time has been out for moral victories. The time has been out for saying, man, he got in trouble. How did it benefit you? You have to start asking yourself, when you're talking about politics, when you're talking about economics, when you're talking about education, when you're talking about incarceration, when you're talking about different changes in policies and laws, whether it's the legalization of marijuana, whatever it is, you've got to ask yourself, how does this impact me and my ability to do the things I need to do to put my family in the best possible place moving forward? You've got to have some strategic observation of things in a way that you understand it and you can predict what's going to be the next play and how that impacts you. If you cannot predict, then you need to sit back and gain an understanding, a perspicacity of what's going on, what's generating it, how it's going to impact you, what's the long-term implications. And then you sit down and you come up with your plan. And you've got to stop being fooled by emotional play, especially by the media and politics. Because while they've got you thinking they're going hard in the paint to take down this dude, they're giving him exactly what he wants. Not only did they push through this $738 billion. Now think about it. We've got this mad crazy issue with education funding and mad crazy issue with health coverage. We've got another mad crazy issue with the homeless. But we've got a $738 billion defense bill being pushed through that's going to fund more wars, create a space force. You'll have to research that. There are some people who think it's great and it's genius or whatever, but that's that. Then again, funding wars and being the puppet master behind conflict around the world, which is how we're sustaining this global power that we are ultimately going to have to relinquish simply because we've run in the ground and we haven't played the game right, and we haven't played by the rules that we are insisting everyone else play by, and it's catching up to us. But nevertheless, we have a responsibility as a people, as husbands, as wives, as parents, as educators, as people in our community, to stand up and actually know what's going on. They've pushed this $738 billion bill through. They've pushed through 9 Republican nominations for judges. That was primarily handled by Mitch McConnell and pushed through, all while this was going on under the radar. Nobody was aware of it because nobody's been trained to pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes. Everybody loves what's on the surface. Everybody wants to get focused on what's on the surface. Everybody allows their emotions to lead. And so you're happy and celebrating that he got impeached, and he's absolutely nothing. Not only will he not likely, not likely be removed, he is not disqualified from running in 2020 for a second term. And what may even happen is that the impeachment may incite some strong, hardcore Republican constituents who are mid-ground, who would not normally vote for him because of whatever reason, now just solely because they're seeing it from the party perspective, go out and support him in this next race. You may have actually bumped up his popularity by doing this, but the Democrats are desperate because they actually don't have anybody, which is crazy. The emergence of Bloomberg as a possible makes it interesting. But other than that, there's nobody that's actually going to defeat this dude, which is crazy. But that's where we're at, and we don't ask ourselves why. We don't do that enough. We don't sit up and say, well, why is it this dude made it in the first place? With all the stuff that came out right before the election in 2016, I was one of the people that was sitting up saying, there's absolutely no way this dude's going to get into office. And I was wrong about that. Now, all the other stuff I said at the same time I was saying that about what's going on and how it's playing in the state of affairs was right. I just underestimated how desperate that side was. And you got to understand, while you know, the Me Too movement was going on, I think almost 50% of white women or higher voted for dude. That's crazy. He had a strong support in that area while talking about how he mistreated women. See, and that goes to show how we have to pay attention and be aware of how things really work. While we are being pumped and aired up and gassed up about feminism, white feminists at the end of the day still go stand behind the white men they're supposed to be fighting, because they understand how the system works and how their protection comes and where their advancement comes from. Then they come out and they'll start the fight all over again, but they're never going to actually make the major power moves against the power structure, because it's the power structure that protects them. But they'll have black women completely at odds with black men. And don't get me wrong, this isn't taking the side of one or the other, because black men, we have a lot that we need to do. Black women, we have a lot that we need to do. This isn't what this video is about. I'm just sitting up telling you how they play. We've got to get on code as well. That's something that we've absolutely got to do, is get on code. You know, but I want you to think about the importance of starting to learn how things work. Start to sit up and look at the people who are out there that are speaking truth to power. You know, maybe it's not me for you. And I'm that, because, you know, I told you when I started this, back when we had things really rolling on the other channel, I told you this, and nothing's changed for me. I'm never going to jump on sensationalism to build this channel. I'm never going to jump on, I'm never going to jump on throwing cheap stuff up that will go viral, just for the sake of getting likes, just for the sake of getting clicks, just for the sake of getting subscriptions. I want the people who come on here to come on here because when they come, they get substance. When they come, they get something they can chew on, something that they can observe, something that they can go fact check, something that they can go look at and make them think more. I don't want you to think like me. I don't want you to agree with everything that I'm saying. I want you to start thinking. I want you to become a mind that is powerful, that is potent, that will stand up and challenge things when it doesn't seem right. Stop accepting everything as truth without challenging it, without studying it, without reading on it, without researching it. That's what I'm here for. I never came here to be popular. I never came here to be liked. I came here to be a force, and I want to be a force of truth, a force that is committed to helping my people. And sometimes that means having a target on my back. Sometimes that means having a revenue generating system snatched down because of what I'm speaking and what I'm putting up and what I'm standing for, and because I won't bend on it. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot, and so it may not be me, it may be somebody else. Find you two or three people that really inspire you, that really give you something that you can grab a hold to, that really challenge you, and push that, support that. Don't just sit up and think you just show up, snatch something, run back. We got a bunch of people with a lot of knowledge sitting in their living rooms, sitting in offices around the country, working for other people and not putting it to use, not being a part of the solution. We got people with financial resources that could back the Black Voice or the Odyssey Project, could back the Black Authority or Professional Black Truth, and get behind it. We have to be willing to get on code, because how we deal with these next several years is going to have a massive impact of what it looks like 25, 50 years from now, when our grandkids, great grandkids are running around and trying to make things happen in this world. On that note, I'm going to get off of here. I thank the guys that stopped by and spent time and shared with us. We've got a lot of work to do. Once again, we need your support. The link is always going to be there. You can give through the Cash App. You know, seems like a lot of people like doing that because it's easy and quick. I guess everybody Cash Apps. It was just something I never really caught on to, but I was convinced to start an account for the organization. So for those of you that want to do that, you can do that. But we definitely need your support. To give you an idea of where we're at, we had goals, minimum goals, for each quarter to get this going. We haven't covered the expenses from the end of the fundraiser. We haven't covered the expenses that we were looking to cover through the fundraiser for the first quarter 2019, and we're about to end 2019. It is what it is. We haven't stopped. We're continuing to go, but you have to know that puts a strain on me as the founder, as the president and the leader of this organization. It puts a strain on me because I have to make things happen. And I am not a quitter. I refuse to fold. I refuse to back into a corner and whine and complain because things aren't happening and going my way. That's not how I'm built. That's not what my children are going to see. That's not what the men I mentor are going to see. That's not what the little kids that benefit from the work we do are going to see. I'm going to go hard in the paint until I take my last breath. Those of you who feel what I'm doing, get behind me. Those who don't, I understand. There's a lot going on and so many people doing whatever. I understand that. I'm not, trying to make you think anything you don't want to think. But what I'm saying is, if you believe in what I'm doing, get behind me. Let's make some things happen. Like I said, we're cranking up this whole fight against sex trafficking, because guess who are the primary targets here? We talk about what was a number of 64,000 Black women, girls and women missing is now 75. And that number's growing. We talk about it, but what are we doing about it? It's going on right under our nose. The people who are part of this industry, whether they're sex trafficking or other forms of human trafficking, like trafficking for the purpose of organ harvesting, indentured servitude, all this is happening. The human trafficking industry is the second most powerful economic industry globally, behind arms dealing. It's surplanet dope dealing and drug trafficking. It's that powerful. And we plan on being an instrument of change in that. We're planning on, we've got a group of brothers who are literally patrolling areas, hoping to catch somebody trying to snatch a kid. We're growing those numbers. We're literally, we may not talk about it a lot, and for obvious reasons, but trust me, we're not sitting idly by any longer and hoping that the system fixes something that the system is actually benefiting. Oh, we could talk about that one day too. If you think this country doesn't benefit from illegal activity and the spoils of it, you need to go back and do some research and read some of your history and find out how much of what has been done in this country was financed. But on that note, I'm gonna get off here. You guys, thank you so much for stopping by early in the morning. Hopefully I'll get you some more stuff up before the end of the day. But I wanted to stop by before I got my day really going. I've been up for a while, man. What, 3 hours? But let's be a catalyst for change. Let's do less complaining and do more taking action. That's my challenge to you on that note. I'm gonna get out of here and move on with my day. You guys have a great day.